think, Uzma?
You know what my answer? I would say, I won't say exactly like Aegon, but I would say he's closer to Aegon than Maegor. Because Aegon, when it came to punishing people or taking down his enemies, Aegon was also, he will be looked at as cruel by his enemies. And same for Daemon. Yes, Daemon did go very far, and he shouldn't have, but he was punishing the criminals. It wasn't like he was punishing innocents. And it didn't hit me when I was reading the books. At that time, I thought, yes, he was completely good. But when I actually watched that scene on the show, it just hit different. Like, no, what is he doing? But even knowing that he is punishing criminals, it was hard to watch. But I would still say Aegon, yes, he punished. If anyone just look at Harrenhal, what he did. So it wasn't like Aegon was completely merciful. He did punish
He was
people,
not
but
merciful.
that's why I think. And when you look at Daemon, he only kills his enemies or the people he thinks when he's the Lord Commander of the City Watch, he's punishing criminals. So I don't see him punishing or killing innocent people. So that's why I'll go with Aegon. What do you think, Solar?
No question, Aegon. He is so much like Aegon the Conqueror. It is hilarious to look at. Like, the only thing that he was missing was Blackfire. I know he had Dark Sister, but still, he was missing Blackfire. Because, he was compared a lot to Maegor the Cruel, but he was compared to, that comparison was made by Otto fucking Hightower. Or should I say, fuck that guy, Tower. Because, real talk, one, Uzma brought up a really good point. It's one thing to read in print, oh, they came along and they did blah, 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 blah. No, that is ugly. Conquest, war, violence, criminal, that's all ugly. It is really, the only thing that could have made it more realistic as far as that scene of him gathering up the criminals and making examples of them and putting those body parts on a cart was if we had smell-o-vision. Okay, that they call it dirty work for a reason. In military stuff, they call it wet work for a reason. However, it existed for a reason. When the small council met to scold him for that, he's like, we got 300 really rich people coming through this town. You want them mugged? We had to show the people exactly what would happen to them if they didn't fall in line. This is the language they understand. This is the language we spoke. Job is done. And I was right there. I was right there with Corlys Valerian going, yeah, the people got to fear the City Watch. And this is coming from someone who viscerally does not like cops. I like police, don't like cops. But he went out there, he took the new police force, he made them cops to say, look, if you do these actions, this will happen to you. Much like Aegon, the Conqueror, with his sister wives and their 3 dragons said, if you perform the actions of not bowing to me, this will happen to you. Okay? The Starks got it. The Lannisters got it. But the criminals they just wouldn't listen. So, I wish there had been a trial. I wish there had been a little bit more rule of law, but that's just my Americanness coming out on that. So yeah, no, I would absolutely say much more like Aegon the Conqueror. Also, not like Maegor the Cruel, because if he were like Maegor the Cruel, I wouldn't have to keep saying fuck Otto Hightower. He would have killed him in the small council at that moment. Wouldn't have said anything about, too bad one of us got a dead wife. No, there wouldn't have been any crap talking. Maegor would have knifed Otto right then and there. Oh, you snitched on me and trying to get the current king to fire me and get me out of the realm? Dead. That was how Maegor the Cruel
Not just
rolled.
Otto.
Huh?
not just Otto.
Exactly. There would have been some murder going on in that small council. So yeah, I definitely got to say Aegon the Conqueror. You know, he suffers a little bit of crap talk, sets an example, and goes about his day. So, you know, again, had he been more like Maegor, Otto knifed at the table, no questions. You know.
I would like to add in, there was one aspect where he was closer to Maegor, the number of wives.
We haven't gotten there yet. We'll get to that.
Yeah, no, that's just this episode. We haven't seen the stable yet. You know, we just yeah.
Constance,
Was that the last one? Yeah, I'm like somebody else. Yeah.
Yeah, I'm gonna lean with everyone else towards more like Aegon the Conqueror, because he did not do the job for cruelty's sake. He did not do this simply to cause pain and bust heads and break balls and cut off balls and things like that. He did it for a reason. It was an executed measure. It was a shock and awe tactic. And it was effective. It was what the city needed, because if you listen to the dialogue, they're saying that the city was not safe and that the City Watch was not an actual force until they gave it to Daemon. And Daemon started reorganizing it, and Daemon started making it effective, and he started organizing them into an actual fighting force, as opposed to probably just being, you know, dudes you could bribe real easily and get away with murder, literally. So yeah, I'm leaning towards Aegon the Conqueror versus Maegor the Cruel. Although he does have a temper, which is probably what they were afraid of. But we have to point out that most of the times he was being compared to Maegor was by Otto fucking Hightower. So it was
Fuck
a very
that guy.
Yeah,
Yep.
it was a very, very biased opinion towards Daemon. So Morgan, what do you think? Which side do you fall on?
well, I asked the question in a very misleading way, so that I can have a different answer than all of you.
Oh, you tyrant!
So, I don't think he's like either of them. I can see qualities of both, yes. Because, first of all, yes, he's doing the things with a purpose, and he's making examples of people just like Aegon did, right? He also has a strong temper, just like Maegor, and he is crude and not particularly personable, like Maegor. People don't like him for a reason. He doesn't have a lot of friends in high places, like Maegor. However, unlike Maegor, he's not actually all that violent for violence's sake. He doesn't go around losing his temper, not violently anyways. Everything he does is very controlled. He doesn't have the communication skills that I imagine Aegon had. He doesn't have the vision, the quite grandiosity that Aegon had. He doesn't have the ambition that Maegor had. What he has is, I think, a very different perspective, because even though he doesn't seem content, he seems to me content to serve his brother. He may want to rule someday because it's his right. I don't think he wants to rule for ruling's sake. I don't think he actually wants to be in charge. I think he has ways of organizing things. I think he likes to be controlling of little things. I don't think he wants to be a king. I think he only wants it because he should have it by the rights that he knows, and the idea of not having it is an insult. And he is not one to take an insult.
Something similar to...
What was that?
Viserys said something similar to that Daemon doesn't want power. He won't kill Viserys to get power.
Yeah. I think he is a very complex person, and I think in the scene where it's after Viserys' wife and child both die, and Daemon is toasting, and we don't actually see what he hear what he says at the end of that toast, which will be the crux of my next question. But I feel like in that scene, like Solar was saying, he's not there to celebrate. He's there to make to make an appearance to the people and to try to keep everybody positive. Bread and circuses. If you can't control the people, you can't control what happens. So he's just maintaining control and maintaining the peace. That's what I saw. He is a peacekeeper, even if he's a violent one.
Yeah.
Now,
if you want to talk about who's like Maegor the Cruel, let's talk Joffrey.
Uh-huh. Yeah.
I would say Joffrey is much closer to Maegor the Cruel than any other king since Maegor.
Yeah, if only Joffrey knew how to fight.
Wasn't even a Targaryen.
Hey, you know, whining is an effective weapon.
Yeah. It killed Ned.
See?